In August of 1966, on a quiet hillside overlooking the city of Rio de Janeiro, two men were found dead. Their bodies lay side by side in the tall grass, dressed neatly in suits, raincoats, and, most unsettling of all, strange handmade lead masks that covered their eyes. No signs of violence, no struggle, no explanation. The discovery would become one of the strangest unsolved mysteries in modern history, a case so eerie that even seasoned detectives were left speechless. It is known today as the lead masks case, a story that seems to exist somewhere between science, ritual, and the unknown. It began on August 20th, 1966, when a young man named José da Costa was flying his kite on the Morro do Vintem Hill in Niterói, a small city across the bay from Rio. As he moved through the undergrowth, his kite got tangled in something unusual. When he went to retrieve it, he noticed two figures lying motionless in the grass. They were men, dressed formally in matching gray suits and raincoats, even though the day was warm. On their faces were thick lead masks, the kind used to protect against radiation, shaped to cover only their eyes. Terrified, Jorge ran to get help. When police arrived, they found the same haunting scene. The men were lying flat on their backs, their arms resting calmly at their sides. There was no blood, no visible injury, no weapon. Nearby, investigators discovered a notebook and an empty water bottle. The notebook contained a few cryptic notes, written in Portuguese. One line read, 1630 B at the specified place. 1830 ingest capsules. After the effect protect metals, await signal, mask. That was it. No names, no explanation. The capsules were never found. After hours of searching, police identified the two men as Manoel Pereira de Cruz and Miguel José Viana, both electrical technicians from the small town of Campos dos Goitacazes, about 200 kilometers away. They were friends, in their 30s, respected in their community, and known for their interest in scientific experiments, particularly in the field of electronics and energy. According to witnesses, the two men had left town days earlier, telling their families they were traveling to São Paulo to buy electronic equipment for work. They carried with them a small amount of money, some tools, their notebook, and those peculiar lead masks. But they never made it to São Paulo. Instead, they checked into a small hotel in Niterói. The hotel clerk remembered them as polite but nervous. They told her they planned to meet someone the next day. When asked about the masks, one of the men said they were for a protective experiment. Later that evening, they purchased a bottle of mineral water, asking the shopkeeper to keep the receipt because they intended to return the bottle later for a refund. It was one of their last known actions before they climbed the hill. The investigation raised more questions than it answered. First, the cause of death. Autopsies were conducted, but due to delays in examination, the bodies were already decomposed. Toxicology tests were inconclusive. There was no sign of trauma, no poison identified, and no evidence of struggle or violence. It was as though they had simply laid down and died together. Then came the lead masks. Experts explained that these masks were not industrial-grade equipment. They had been hand-cut from sheet lead, roughly shaped to fit over the eyes, with no straps or padding. They were crude, uncomfortable, and clearly homemade. What were they for? Lead masks are typically used to block radiation. But why would two electronics technicians need protection only for their eyes, and not the rest of their bodies? The deeper the police dug, the stranger the story became. Friends and colleagues told investigators that both men were fascinated by UFOs and paranormal experiments. They were known to attend meetings with local spiritualist groups, discussing how to contact beings from other dimensions. Some even claimed they had spoken about building a device to communicate with extraterrestrial life. One of their acquaintances later told police that the men believed in the possibility of receiving messages from higher entities through bright lights, and that these lights could be harmful to the human eye if seen directly. That, some suggested, might explain the masks. Had they gone to the hill expecting to witness something extraordinary? Something that required protection from blinding light? Investigators followed every lead. Some believed the men had been victims of a religious or occult ritual, possibly misled by someone promising them enlightenment. Others speculated that they had accidentally poisoned themselves while performing an experiment involving radioactive material or chemicals. But no radioactive substances were found, no ritual items, no evidence of a third person. Everything pointed to a deliberate act. Two men voluntarily walking up a remote hill, waiting for a signal, putting on their masks and ingesting unknown capsules. Then, nothing. In the years that followed, the lead masks case became legend. UFO researchers claimed it was proof of extraterrestrial contact gone wrong. Skeptics insisted it was a tragic misunderstanding, an experiment in electronics or hypnosis that ended fatally. Even the police reports remained frustratingly vague. Officially, the cause of death was never determined. Unofficially, many officers admitted that they had never seen anything like it, and never would again. The hillside where their bodies were found has since been reclaimed by vegetation. Locals say that at night, strange lights can sometimes be seen flickering above it, silent, hovering, then vanishing into the mist. Whether coincidence or something else, the area has gained a quiet reputation as cursed. Today, the story of Manoel and Miguel is remembered not just as a mystery, but as a warning about how far human curiosity can go in search of the unknown. Were they scientists testing an experiment that went wrong? Spiritual seekers attempting to contact something beyond our understanding? Or simply two men caught in a delusion that ended in tragedy? No one knows. Their final message, ingest capsules, await signal mask, still echoes like a riddle across time. Whatever they were waiting for that night in 1966, the signal must have come, because they never returned. As the wind moves softly across the hills of Niterói, the place where they fell remains quiet. The grass hides the earth that once held two men who looked to the sky and believed they were about to witness something greater than themselves. Maybe they did. Maybe they saw a light that no one else could see. A light so bright that they needed to shield their eyes before stepping into it. And perhaps, somewhere far beyond the stars, the experiment continues, still waiting for its signal to be understood.